All right. Yeah, like got the most ghetto like studio set up in the world right here. Got a phone pointed at a computer. So yeah, I guess we're live. So for people just joining us, we are obviously 9 minutes late. Sorry about that. But if you are here, muchas gracias for joining in. Let's kind of take this thing and run with it. Make a lot of Billy Riley references in the fact that we will do it live. We'll spare you the pleasure or the displeasure of reciting that, but it's worth your time, especially if you're a kid or since the beer's not around. Yet again, apologize for my Civil War era webcam and for being late and for the fact that I have my iPhone pointed at the screen. Just got a haircut before I got in the shower, so a little bit of a reflection. I didn't do that. But anyway, so what you got, Paul?
I'm just happy to be here. I'm ready. I'm pumped up about this one tonight. The past two I've been excited about, but this is one I'm pretty amped up about. I'm ready to get it started. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, little Instagram shout out. I'm gonna shout everybody out. We got Cody back, the back attack from Kentucky, joining us. What's up, Cody? Hope everybody's doing well your way. So yeah, tonight I guess we want to talk about EDC, which is code for people don't know everyday carry. Kind of a real quick and simple. Nothing quick and simple about it, but what's in your pockets. You're gonna dive right into it. You're kind of that's a little bit more in your wheelhouse than mine. So I'm gonna let you run off on that one.
Oh yeah, Hunter. I don't know. I can't. Maybe the guys on there can see you. I can't see you, but that's okay. I got your audio, so that's fine. But it's not coming back through there. So there's a little bit of a delay. But that's cool. I'm following along on the YouTube page. Yeah, so what we're going to do tonight is I'm actually Hunter's going to go first. I'm going to throw it back to him in a second. But what we want to go through is we're just going to go through a pocket dump of what Hunter carries on a daily basis, what I carry on a daily basis, and kind of compare and contrast the two. So there's going to be some differences and why we carry what we carry and, you know, how we've planned that out, how maybe it's changed over time. We don't want to get too down in the weeds. And then if there's something we'd like to change now or like to change in the next 6 months or year. And then last, we're going to kind of round it up at the end, talking about if you're, let's say that you don't have anything. Let's say that you carry your phone, your wallet, and your keys every day. You know, what could you start carrying, baby steps, and kind of, I think as civilians, maybe we shouldn't use like first line gear, second line gear, that kind of nomenclature. But what can you start to carry? How can you layer that up, and how's it going to fit in? So, I guess I'm gonna throw it off to you and let you run with it for a little bit, Hunter, and then I'll comment or ask questions as it comes along.
Sorry about that. I had to run out. So I'm assuming you just asked me to. I'm assuming you just asked me to explain basically what I got. I'm assuming that's what you said. That being said, I was running back in to do that because, hey, guess what? It was in my pants. That is what you asked, right? Before I go on a run here.
Yep, that's it. All right. That's exactly what I asked.
My boy Cody back, so he want to hear our thoughts on Glock versus City. That's actually a really good question. We'll get that in just a minute. All right, so first off, an excuse, I guess. Me and Paul talked about this pretty in depth. I personally think there's different tiers to like everyday carry. So my professional life, I manage a golf course. Where I'm at, you know, I'm out and about. I'm on the golf course, traveling around throughout the day. As that goes, and I'm not making any excuses for this because bad things definitely can and have happened. Where I work at day to day, it's a gated community, very safe by all means. And with that, you know, one, my employer does not permit me to carry a firearm. You know, Georgia state law, if you have a Georgia weapons carry license, the way I read the law at least, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm going to get into that. But the way I read the law at least, even though your employer prohibits it legally, you can carry it. I'm not going to get into that, but nonetheless, I do not carry it at work, nor have I ever really felt the need to. And frankly, I've never really heard anybody needing to. That being said, though, I've got tools and stuff with me. I have to drive a 4x4 utility vehicle, and if things ever got totally crazy, you got some options. That being said, as soon as I crank my truck up and I leave and I go to the store, go to the grocery store, go on a date, et cetera, there's systems I've got in place. So first thing, I'll go to just dive straight in it. I'm a personal believer that if you do not have a knife, like I don't even know if you can consider yourself a human. I've been carrying for years now a Gerber Ripstop 2. It's just a folding knife. I used to have the straight clip blade, but I have the serrated blade. I haven't had to save my butt on multiple occasions. It doesn't get as sharp or it doesn't get as dull as quick. And I think you can, if you got to, you can saw into something if you just got to get a little violent. So I've always got that with me. Always, what's the old joke about if you got your pants on, you got a knife. The Ripstop 2, it's been good to me so far. I've been through 2 of them. I broke one, and then Gerber sent me another, and then I've lost 2 on them as well, but that was on me. I'm a big fan of Gerber products. Some people like Kershaw, but that's what I use. And honestly, on a Saturday night, this thing's got plenty of options for opening a beer can or something like that. Wallet-wise, I used to be one of those guys that had a big old fat nasty wallet. I used to have one that was made out of like recycled turnout gear. I liked it. It was good, but it's huge and I don't know. I don't want to have like back problems down the road because I had a bunch of business cards and stuff I didn't need. I've been carrying for about almost 2 years now. I've been very impressed with it. The Magpul, I cannot remember the name of it. It's like the DACA wallet, I think. It's really thin. I mean, it's thinner than an iPhone. It's a Kevlar, like a plastic rubber type material. Been really pleased with it. That's what I've got in my pocket. One thing that I purchased earlier this year, Paul, you and I kind of talked about it some, and you give this as a suggestion, and it's something I thought long and hard about, and I could never really make my mind up. But I made the purchase. I've been really pleased with it so far. Is I went out, spent the money, and I highly suggest it to anybody. I went and got a good belt, and that's got a lot of different uses. And I don't mean from a like defense standpoint, but if you think about it, your belt. One, I always wear a belt. Most of the time, my shirt is tucked in, so I think you should kind of do that. But I also, with a belt, that's the bones behind whatever type of rig you're running, whether it be a firearm, some sort of med kit. A lot of guys use like a holster for cell phone. So I think a belt is a pretty important part. I actually went out and I got I found a discount code and everything. I got a Hanks belt, just they call it like a bull belt or whatever. Just their standard belt. That's what I got. It's just a Hanks belt. It's a little bit big. I've lost a couple inches in this thing since I got it. I haven't had to use a warranty. It's held up great so far. I've had it for almost a year. I think it had like a 100-year warranty on it, so you can't beat that. All the reviews and the warranty stuff is good.
Those guys are out of North Carolina,
right? Yeah, I think so. They're out of North Carolina. I'm not 100% sure on some of that stuff, but they've got a lot of different options.
Yeah, I think the Hanks belt is. I could be wrong. Maybe I should Google it before, but I was thinking they were out of. So they're a relatively local Southeast company. So I'm all about that. So carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're not. They're definitely made in USA. It's not made in Taiwan or anything. But they've got a lot of different options. They've got some dressier belts for some of the guys like Cody, who I think still watching. If you're in professional, like business, professional type attire, they've got some dressier belts. They've got some higher end belts, and they even got some pretty heavy like duty belts if you're in law enforcement. I've been really pleased with it so far. They're kind of claim to fame. You can't do it anymore. It's kind of softened up, which I'm not complaining about. Is when this thing comes straight out of the box, you can sit it on the ground like this, and you can stand on it, and it will keep its rigidity. I was kind of make the joke, since 100 years old, I'll get to spank my grandkids with it. So I'm sure it'll be illegal by then, but Anyway, the only catch I got with the belt is we're about to roll right into that. I carry appendix for multiple reasons, but one of the only catches I have with it is when you carry appendix, I feel like the buckle it kind of sticks out a little bit. I'm a little bit thinner of a guy, but I don't know. I don't have the belly to hide it, I guess. Which I guess that's a good and a bad thing. But I feel like when you carry appendix, if it's up that way, that sometimes the buckle sticks out. So going into what everybody probably wants to hear about, I carry the Smith & Wesson Shield, carried in a Kydex holster from Flashbang. They are out of Oklahoma. I think it's Oklahoma City, as a matter of fact. Julie and I don't remember, Lisa. Great ladies. It's a female-owned company. They make like holsters for females. It kind of sit right here in your the void there in your chest. I got this right here, and I really just wanted a simple, just a very simple, straightforward, no frills holster, something with a small footprint, and that's what I got from them. Clear. With that, I carry the Smith & Wesson Shield. Got it in flat dark earth because that was an option. And if something has the option of flat dark earth, you get flat dark earth. So this Smith & Wesson Shield, I went back and forward pretty hard between the Shield and the Glock 19. And honestly, one of the reasons I went with the Shield is because it is a little bit smaller of a gun, and it's a little bit more, it was a little bit thinner. I felt like a little bit more consumable, a little bit more comfortable for me. Now, who cares? You know, you got twice the amount of rounds with the 19. The Shield comes with a 7 and 8 round magazine. I always carry the 8. I went and bought a bunch of the 8s, so that's what I always carry. But you know, I live in Georgia. It's hot. It's always hot, and I wear shorts a lot. I wear a lot of running shorts, a lot of just really lightweight clothes. With that, I wanted something one that wasn't crazy heavy. Rounds have weight to them. But one of the bigger parts behind that was I found myself with my last gun on. I still own it. And Cody, just kind of going back to you talking about a SIG. I still have it. The P-250 compact. It's not subcompact, but it's compact. And as much as I love it, it's a 15 round magazine. It's a bigger gun. As much as I love it, I found myself just making excuses of why I wouldn't do it. Running in a gas station, running in to pick up bread and milk kind of thing. I just found myself making excuses why I wasn't wearing it. It's too big, it's too bulky, etc. And I don't know. That's like the person's worst fear, in my opinion, is that you would not have your weapon because of some petty reason and then something happened. So with that, I kind of went with I've rounds +1, but with the Shield, it's something that I'm going to carry because it's more comfortable. And what's the old adage of a bird in hand is worth two in the bush? Kind of the same concept there.
Hey, Hunter.
So that's go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, all right. Sorry, I like I said, I'm not seeing your screen in real time there. Who was it that asked the question about the Glock versus SIG before you carried it on too far? I'm sorry, I don't mean to derail you. I was gonna throw in a quick,
you're good. That was my old friend there, Cody Back. He's a heck of a guy from Kentucky. He's a national SFA officer. Give me a big time shout out over here, Cody.
Awesome, mate.
Great guy. He was asking, what's that?
What was his question again?
He was just asking. He wanted to hear our thoughts on Glock versus SIG.
All right. If I can interject for a second there on that, just before you continue on, both of them make great firearms. Both of them have a long-standing service record, especially if you're talking about the any of like the 17 and 19 models, as it relates to like the P226 series, those weapons. That comes down to a personal preference on whether you like double action, single action with a decocker, or you like just striker fired polymer frame guns. I would say that the 320 is promising, And despite a lot of the crap they caught here recently about, I think it's still a good firearms platform. My brother-in-law has one chambered in 40. I think it's a good gun. I would not hesitate to carry one at all. It just doesn't have the track record. Generally speaking, the 320 and the 19s and 17s are about the same street price. The 226 is because and when I say 226, I mean everything in that family. I think like the 227s, the 226s, the 229s, basically the alloy framed, all metal, single action, double action guns. They're more expensive. So I would say that carry the one that you like the most. I personally, and this is a personal thing, I don't like having to learn 2 trigger pulls. I'd rather go with something striker fire that's got 1 trigger pull to have to learn. So with that being said, the Glock would be what I would aim for. But out of those two, I mean, there's 100 different striker fired guns out there. But at the same time, if someone showed up and they had a 320, in no way would think that's a poor choice in firearms. So I think both of them are good choices. Comes down to personal preference and cost point, or price point, I should say. Okay, continue on. I just wanted to interject that.
No, I totally agree with that because I have I've got that SIG PT50, and it's a compact. It's a little bit big for just carrying. I carry it hunting a good bit, or if I'm going, maybe if we're going to the mountains, and I kind of, can open carry or maybe have it in a backpack or something like that. And I'm telling you, I'm way more accurate with it. It's a great shooting gun. It's a great shooting gun. It feels good. It's got it's smooth. I've never had a misfire with it, knock on wood. That's a P250. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Really, truly, I think with Glock and SIG, I mean, you're comparing, Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and they're two really good families of guns. You're not going to go wrong either way. But hey, going back to I carry the Smith & Wesson Shield. I carry 9mm. Like I said, round count was 8 on that, and really, truly, the reason for that is because it's something I would carry. It's a little bit lighter weight, it's thinner, more concealable, and honestly, that's probably what weighed into it as much as anything. A lot of guys will get arguing calibers and stuff, and frankly, I don't know, the best gun in the world is the one that you got with you. So I'd rather go with 9mm. It's got a few more rounds. So that's the reason I chose that. I carry it, like I said, I carry it in this Kydex flashbang holster. Something that I have mixed feelings about. I've been pretty impressed with it so far. I don't know that I'll go back with it, but that being said, I really like having this. I may have to go. That might be our fire department. That's not you turn that down, please. Thank you. All right, never mind. Sometimes they will mess that up.
We're doing it live, guys. We're doing it live.
Doing it live. Cody said, thanks for the thoughts on it. Got to go put the little one to bed. Thanks for listening to Hard Work Philosophy. Appreciate it, Cody. Go, gorgeous daughter, by the way. Anyway, so since other people are looking at us, this Kydex holster is from Flashbang. They use the Ulti clip. I really, truly have fallen in love with it because, like I said, I wear a lot of running shorts, a lot of lightweight stuff, and you can wear this thing. They design it for women to basically wear like yoga pants, and you can't really see it on there. But once you press that thing down, it clamps on there pretty good. I've almost I buy these Ultra clips like $10. It's made out of spring steel, so you can. I've been looking at getting a couple of them for other things too. I think it'd be awesome if you could have like a little Kydex holster or something for a flashlight. Man, you could put this thing, inside the waistband. You can on a backpack, et cetera, et cetera. So, mixed feelings about the Ulti clip setup, but at the same time, it's definitely nice to have because it fits really good. On running shorts, you don't have to have a belt, J clip or something like that on. Something else that I have bought recently, and I wish I had not bought, or I wish I hadn't waited so long on. I'm actually looking at buying another one of maybe a different type. It's a just something like a push knife, push dagger kind of thing. It's kind of a last resort, but at the same time, I don't know. If nothing else, everybody likes knives. Um, this is a K-bar sharp bite. And what's neat about it is if you travel a lot, some people are brave. I'm not necessarily condoning this. Some people will fly with these. I absolutely guarantee you TSA will not let you. But one of the cool parts about this is all polymer. The knife, the frame, the handle, sheath, everything on here is polymer. So it's kind of neat in the sense that it's non-detectable by a metal detector. Yet again, I'm not telling you to break laws. I'm not telling you to break rules. But if you're going into a non-permissive environment, whether it be a school, if you're going into somewhere like that, and you really feel the need to, this could be an option. Definitely not telling you to take knives to school. Yet again, disclaimers. But nonetheless, it's all plastic, it's all polymer, and I've kind of played with it some, and I wouldn't use this as a pocket knife, but if you put some weight behind it, I truly feel like you could probably you could break through skin with it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. That's the K-bar sharp bite. I ran with it some. I think it's really good for that use. I really want to get a different one, maybe a metal one, and just have this as just kind of a last resort. But one thing I have noticed about it that I really like is it's got a bead chain, this lanyard that it comes with. You put paracord or something like that and make it pretty much invisible. So like I said, there's no metal on the knife, no metal on the sheath. A lot of knives like this have metal in the sheath, even if it's in the rivets or something. But this is absolutely all polymer. But one thing I have noticed about it is I want it running some, which I think is a really good use for something like this when you can't really, maybe you don't have a kit bag or something like that to carry a firearm in. Is it right? One thing I like about it, it rides high. It sits kind of right in that void in your chest. And it's always there. And if you, I don't know, I feel pretty good about it. It's got a good feel to it, a good weight to it, and I'm pretty pleased with it so far. One thing and the last thing I really keep in my pockets, and I'm pretty big. I'm in a pretty good habit of if I have my gun, I have this with me. And this is kind of a personal belief, and a lot of people are against this, but whatever. Um, Personally, I feel like if you have a way to make holes, you need to have a way to fix holes. And depending on where I'm at, what I'm doing, I have different levels of first aid. But something I always try to carry with me, not necessarily whether it be for me or somebody else, is a tourniquet. I still haven't found the best way to carry it, but it's just a North American Rescue Cat T. Um, you know, People have got away from tourniquets for a really long time, but people have also really gotten back into them. They found out a lot of good stuff in old wars in the last 18 years. They're saving lives, and I've used tourniquets in other applications. I've used them in actual situations before. You need to kind of practice with it. You need to know where things are at, which side to pull, which side to twist. But it's one of those things where it's kind of a little security blanket, knowing that if something happened, whether it be to you, to someone else, or whatever you were to ride up on, that you have a way to possibly help control some bleeding. Because especially where I live at, it's a very rural area, and I truly think that first aid is something that a lot of people need to brush up on, because where I'm at, especially rural, you got a really long wait on any sort of medical aid. And on top of that, you got to really long wait on top of for medical aid. And on top of that, too, a lot of times, if it's any sort of gun, like a gunshot wound or a knife, anything like that, any sort of violent crime, they're not just going to let medical aid just run right in there and kick the door in and patch you up. There's going to be a pretty involved police process to be done with that as well. So you really need to be able to take care of yourself until you can get another level of aid there. That's pretty much it for my pockets. That's a lot. So your turn.
Yay! It's my turn now. I guess I should preface this by saying that Hunter put it, I think, in the description that we shared on Instagram earlier. But the main thing is that your training and the knowledge you have and the abilities that you have that you work on in the gym and the ones that you work on at the shooting range and the ones you work on in medical classes and the ones you work on by reading books and doing all this other stuff, that's ultimately going to be more valuable than gear. I mean, gear, you need the tools sometimes. There's just no way to get around it. You're not gonna win a gunfight with a pencil. However, if you can avoid getting in a gunfight to begin with, then you're probably going to be in a better spot. So that just take that I think that was probably assumed by everyone correctly, but I just wanted to put that out there.
You could do an entire 10 episodes on that alone. I mean,
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest
yeah,
part, honestly.
yeah. I mean, if you think about it as and I don't want to go down too far down the rabbit hole, but as I say you're a normal guy. Let's say just an average Joe, and you work your 9 to 5 or your 40-hour shift gig, or you work for a utility company, or you work for a bank, whatever. I mean, you're probably not hanging out in stupid places. You're trying to avoid stupid people. You're trying to going to do stupid things at stupid times, right? Like riding through a bad neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning. Probably not something you're doing on average thing. So statistically, the odds are in your favor that you won't see stuff often. But as Aaron Cowan with Sage Dynamics has put it a few times, it's not about the risk; it's about the stakes. So if something bad does go down and you come out on the losing end of the lottery, it'll be the last time you ever gamble. So, um, yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's there's a lot to be said for just using some common sense and some situational awareness. But with that, I'll dive right in. Hunter has already talked about that we have. Everybody has to build their, I don't want to call it a system, but their EDC based on their life and what they do on a normal basis. Uh, I have I have some differences in what I do for a living than what Hunter does. It allows me to probably have access to a little more stuff than what he does. Um, but the first thing that I base my stuff around is the belt. So this particular belt is the G Hook by Voland Gearworks, and I think this company may have went under. I bought this belt in 2015. So you guys, you can see it right there, Voland Gearworks. Anyway, I think it's 2015. This is a G hook belt, so it doesn't have a traditional buckle. You can see here there's a couple of strips of molly across the front, and then you got a G hook, which will just lay in. Actually, I got the belt upside down. You got this heat right here, and this hook just lays in there like so, and then you got a keeper here that adjusts it. Nice thing about it is when it lays, you see how flat this is. You don't have a big honking Cobra buckle or anything up there. A lot of adjustment. It's a very stiff belt. I've worn it a little bit and it's lost a lot of it now, but I found that this is adequate for EDC. I have used it at a couple competitions and stuff, and when you start putting a outside the waistband belt and then like a double pistol mag on it, it's a little too much. So for EDC, it's perfect, but it's not going to double duty if you guys want to use it for competition stuff. Not quite that big. Um, the next thing is, Hunter may have one, but I didn't see him anything. Is this guy right here? It's flashlight. So I will honestly say that this may vie for the most important thing I carry, other than my pocket knife. And I know that sounds sacrilegious to Hunter. He's having a moment over there right now. But the one thing about this is you can take it on you can go into any airport. TSA can look at this thing right here, and they're going to just let you go right on through it. Take it in any airport. It's dark at least 8 hours a day everywhere on Earth. Some places it's a lot more than 8 hours, right? And humans don't have really good night vision, and I mean, we don't see very well in the dark, so it's nice to have light. You think about any kind of bad situation that happens and you lose power, which natural disasters, man-made disasters, whatever. It's nice to have this. This one actually has the Theorem switchback on it, which is I'd say it's a shooting aid to allow you to. I have a weapon light. We'll get on that with the gun more, but I do have this. But it's just you can go on Theorem stuff and see it. But it's a shooting aid that allows you to basically keep one hand on the weapon light. You can deploy it, use the other hand to do other stuff, and then if you had to shoot, you could roll it out of the way, do whatever you need to. Surefire, I believe this is a G2X, so it's low setting is like 15 lumens, high is like 300. Uh, it's good bang for the buck. They make other ones. You don't have to get one this big if you don't want it. I think any light is good. The reason I like this one, 300 lumens, is bright enough that I'm a pull a Dr. Evil. It's considered a tactical light. You can use it for blinding. It has a good bit of horsepower to be able to see in really dark spots and places that you need to. But the 15 lumens is really nice for when you're searching for stuff and has a low mode. Moving right on to that, pocket knife
let me interrupt you real quick and ask you what is that? What material was that ring made out of on that?
It's like a polymer Zytel. So the flashlight body itself is anodized aluminum, like all of the Surefire lights. I think they made one model, and somebody can chime in if they know what it is, but they made some old Nitrolon, the old plastic bodied ones. This is not it. This is all metal.
I actually used to, when I was in middle school of all time, I had a G2 that was a Nitrolon. And that thing was amazing, but I was in middle school, so I could barely afford batteries for it. But I ended up losing it a couple years later. But no, I saw that point on that thing. I didn't know if it was made out of like aluminum as well, and you might can kind of maybe weaponize that or.
No, the bezel. I mean, Surefire stuff is really tough. So I would probably just because when I carry around. So a lot of times, like if I'm walking across like a parking lot or night or like early in the morning or whatever, getting to work, I'll carry it like in an ice pick grip, like you would. You see a lot of some guys will train with edged weapon stuff like ice pick grip, and the bezel of this thing. I mean, I'm not a highly trained martial artist. I mean, by any stretch of the imagination, but the bezel of this thing's pretty tough, and if you took a couple of blows, in the eyes, nose, throat with this, it could pretty easily be weaponized. So, knife, Kershaw Blur, nothing fancy. Unlike Hunter, I do not prefer serrated blades just because of the fact of I don't like sharpening them. And I try to keep my knives pretty sharp. I try to do a decent job of keeping an edge on them. I'm not always successful. I try to keep them shaven sharp. It's not like that all the time. So I've been caught before with a dull knife. I just like a very simple blade. I don't want any serrations on it. I understand that if you got a serrated blade or at least partially serrated blade, how it can be beneficial in certain, especially sawing applications. But I like this just for the simple. I can touch the blade up. It's a lot easier. I don't like exotic steels because I'm not that great of a knife sharpener, so I need the help I can get. I want something that I can put on a ceramic rod or something like that and touch it up as needed. So I've covered knife, covered that wallet. I just got this old nylon thing, and I was bored with a paint pen. You can see there's no like special meaning to that triangle. I was just bored, but it's just old nylon wallet. I don't carry anything special. Keep myself in it. I prefer the nylon over the leather because I can wash it if it gets funky or it's just simple. It doesn't absorb sweat. It's what works for me. I do not carry a fixed blade. I did it one time. I found that it took up too much real estate. I have a moderate sized handgun already, and real estate's already at a premium, so I don't carry a fixed blade. I would have no problem carrying a fixed blade like at the. I'm a right-handed shooter, so at the 11 o'clock position. However, like I said, just real estate, and I would like to have a little more training or get back into some hand-to-hand stuff before I'd carry that because honestly, it's been my experience that most people can't get to the knife if it gets to a point where they need to get to the knife anyway. From the little bit I've seen, unless you're trained, I mean, the average guy can't do it. And I mean, but if that's all you got, like if you're if you can't carry a gun for whatever reasons, post office or wherever it is, you can't carry a gun in it. Knife's going to be better than having nothing. But that's just my personal take on it. And if you carry a hunter, you're looking at stuff, rock on. That's just a personal thing for me. Hunter? What ammo do you carry in the shield? I sent you a
I carry
thing on.
the yeah, I didn't even think about that to be honest with you. I carry the Hornady. I cannot remember off the top of my head. They got so freaking many. It's basically like the zombie round. It's not a zombie round because that's just kind of goofy, but it's like
X
the
XTP.
X. Yes. I can never remember. But it's obviously it's hollow point. Got the like the foam, like the ballistic material inside of it to kind of help it open up. Uh, that's what I've been carrying with. Luckily, never had to use it. That being said, though, I've talked to a couple guys that have shot hogs with those, and they've had pretty good success. Uh, you know,
Okay.
so
I was looking in here at the ammo, and I thought I'd mention that. I was going to mention mine. So if while I'm on the subject, if anybody's watching this either live or later, I highly recommend that if you're considering what kind of ammo choice, or excuse me, considering what kind of ammo to purchase to carry for EDC, Lucky Gunner has a website, and they did a big ballistics gel roundup for the service calibers 940 45, and I think they went on to expand it to 380 and 38 special. Huge database of information that they shot these rounds into ballistics gel from subcompact guns, so guns the size of the shield, the size of the Glock 43, of those subcompact firearms, and they publish all that data. It's a really good, just analytical data compilation that you can go through, and you don't have to read on forums about this one story about this one cop in 1997 who it's just real world analytical data. The other one that I would say is if you're looking for an ammo choice, is look at your at the state level what your highway patrol and what your uh, state agencies. So like SLED, in here, it'd be South Carolina, be SLED, the highway patrol, what they're carrying. That's caliber specific. I understand that if they have 9, then that might not be the best choice in 45 or vice versa. But that's also a really good also a really good metric for you to figure out what's a good ammo choice. I wouldn't unless it's a big municipality like one of the larger cities in your state. I wouldn't look at your like local sheriff's or city's police department and see what they had. Go to somebody bigger, and then always, whether you like it or not, the FBI has been updating stuff here recently, and they seem to be, I think, making good choices. I may be biased, but I think that they're moving towards the right choice. So, all right, before I fall down that rabbit hole anymore, this is what I carry. So this is a Glock 19 that's been Han Solofied. Get this thing clear. So what this is it was an all stock Glock 19 internally. It was milled. It's got an RMR on it and a Surefire X300. I cut the finger grooves off and stippled it, but internally it's a stock Glock. It's all got factory parts on it. Everything else is pretty much a bolt on. I could, in about 20 minutes, I could take it back to stock configuration other than the suppressor height sights and it having a big notch cut in the top of the slide. Overall, I like it. It does come with a weight penalty. This gun's probably heavier than a Glock 17. So, and also if you look at it because of this length, it's the same length as a Glock 34 overall. So you're talking about normally you'd have a 4-inch barrel, but it's the same length as a gun with a 5-inch barrel. The trade-off is that you got 600 lumens on tap, and then the RMR. That's probably its own show, like whether or not you should put a dot on a handgun. If you ask me, the short answer is yes, do it. But there are some caveats that you understand that you're going to suck worse for a little bit before you get better. There's a learning curve associated with it. I really enjoy this handgun. It is heavy enough though that without a belt you can't really carry it. So that shield, I think that you got, Hunter, you could get a pair of gym shorts or something and probably tuck it away in there and be okay. If you don't have a belt with this thing, it ain't gonna happen. It's just there's too much gun. Holsters a T-Rex Arms Raptor, and it's got this little claw at the bottom here that when it sits appendix. So if you're looking at it this way, this little claw, your belt sits across here. That little claw pushes it back in and brings the butt of the grip into your body a little more in your appendix. I like it. There's so many holster makers out there, and they all have a lot of designs. I think there's a whole bunch of other people who make, G Code, and I don't know. Hundreds of people make holsters very similar to this. So, but I carry appendix. That's my preferred method of carry. That's the way I've liked it. I've been doing it for a while now. I did. I'm a fan of full size guns. So I know Hunter's got a shield, and I understand why he has it. I'm a fan of full size guns. I had a Smith and Wesson M&P, the full size version, the Gen 1 or whatever you want to call it, that I carried for quite a long time. There's no weapon light on it. It was just a stock M&P. Full size guns are, they're a big gun to carry, but in the event that you need it, they're also a big gun to fight with. So it's, generally speaking, larger size handguns, not only because of the weight, the grip, the sight radius and things like that. They're easier to shoot, and they got ammo capacity. So I prefer those if I can get away with it. I don't really own a small single stack gun. I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a need for it from time to time. So I just wind up having to dress around the gun. I do not carry a spare mag. So I carry a standard G19 mag, which is 15. Keep one in the chamber, so I got 16. So 15 plus one capacity. I told you before that real estate's it's a thing. There's only so much room in your body, and I've just found that I don't know, that I feel like I need to. Marksmanship is more my concern, and I know that I've got 16 rounds to work with. Does that mean I've never carried spare mags before? No, I have. But it's just one of those things that I don't do it every day, and I don't want to count on it. And is it something I may integrate later? Maybe, but right now I feel sufficiently armed. I mean, if something happened and I had to use it, I'm sure that I would be like, no, that wasn't enough. Seems to be the case. If you hear people talk about it, they never say, man, I wish I hadn't carried all that ammo. But I feel sufficiently armed with that. 124 grain gold dots. That's what I carry. I've also carried HSTs, and I like those. Uh, in fact, I actually like the HSTs just a little bit better. I've shot a hog with one of these 124 grain gold dot, and it worked superbly. If you put a bullet in something's brain, generally all of them work pretty good though. So that might not be the best example, but 124 grain gold dot, that's preferred load that I like, and then also the 124 grain HSTs. I like the HSTs a little bit better. The problem I've seen with the HSTs is availability around where I live. So if you order them, you need to order them in like the law enforcement marked boxes of 50 or 100, so that you're not paying full retail, because they're like like $1.25 a round if you buy them. You go to Walmart or Academy or Dick's or wherever and try to buy HSTs. And I think, man, that's really it. I have a rat's tourniquet. So full disclosure, I have a rat's tourniquet that I bought, and I started carrying. I carried it pretty hard for about 3 months, and I just could not find a good place to get it to where it would work in. Like it was in this pocket, it was in the way. In this pocket, it was in the way. Didn't really want to put it on a belt clip. I knew there were some guys that had been threading it through the belt and wearing it. That didn't really work for me, or that I saw. So uh, I'm still working towards that. I agree with Hunter wholeheartedly that if you got something that makes holes, makes people bleed, you probably should carry something around that can help people stop bleeding. And I think that the rats is not as, I don't say is not as proven, but it's not the same kind of system that do you have a soft T, or did you say you had a Cat 7?
I actually, I've actually got a cat. So I've got both. I've got the cat. I think I own like 7 tourniquets, like
Okay.
kind of a
Okay. Yeah.
thing.
So
But I've got like 3 or 4 of these. The cat 7, and I also have 3 of the rats tourniquets.
okay.
Um, I've used one in real life. Never used the rats. That being said, I mean, it works. Some people hate them. Uh, I kind of think it gets. I think it doesn't get enough credit because it's newer. It's totally different. It's a different mousetrap. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. If I get shot in the leg and that's all you got, please, for the love of God, tighten that thing down on me.
Yeah. The main
I feel confident to do this job.
and one of the main reasons I got that one, or I tried integrating that one, it's a little bit smaller, but also too, I got 2 small kids, and a lot of times the Cat 7 stuff won't get small enough to get on a kid's appendage where the rats will. I mean, I know that for smaller children, usually you can reach up and grab the armpits or groin, or put enough direct pressure on it to probably stop something. But you never kind of know what's going to happen in a situation like that. It would be nice to be able to completely cut off any hemorrhaging to an extremity should you need to, especially if you had to pick that child up or that person up and move them for whatever reason. So um, that's I mean that's basically what I carry. I've carried more stuff before, and I have a bag with all kind of goodies in it. It was my Go Ruck bag. It's been kind of reconfigured now for the Go Ruck training, but I don't count that as EDC because when I say, and this is one thing that I didn't touch on at the beginning, but when I say EDC for me, if I'm outside of my house, this is what I'll have on me all the time. So I don't really have like a date night system. I don't really have like a work system. I don't have a road trip system. Like I get up in the morning, all that stuff's laid out on the dresser. It's wallet, phone, keys, pocket knife, flashlight, Glock 19, and all goes in the belt, and then I go on to work. Um, if I go to the gym, like if I run, I'll transfer everything that's in my pockets, with the exception of maybe the pocket knife into that runner's kit bag. I'll go run. If I'm at the gym, a lot of times what I do is I still transfer everything in that runner's kit bag, drop it down into a book bag, and I just have a lot of due diligence and keep that thing within your line of sight all the time, which isn't really easy. It's not too bad in a squat rack because you can throw it up against the wall, but it stays with me. Um, the I will supplement, like I said before. I've carried an extra mag. I've carried a fixed blade in adjunct to that, but I don't really count that as EDC. That's more of things that I'm adding to it. But everything that I showed there, I have on any given day. So if you were to bump into me at buying a hot dog at a hot dog stand, that'd be the things that I'd have on me at any given time. Um, Hunter, you want to kind of go into if someone's kind of how they should build their system. We don't want to get this. We've been on about an hour so far, but kind of if anybody's new or they got kind of how you think they should go back? Because I kind of want to see how we compare as far as how you think they should layer their gear up, or where they should start and then where they should work towards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll say this: if you go a prime example, just Google everyday carry. There's absolutely, I don't think anybody's got the same things. Everybody's got something a little different because there's so many different components to it. Um, and honestly, and I feel like this type of person probably wouldn't be watching this, especially at like almost the 1 hour mark. It doesn't have to include a gun. It doesn't have to include a knife. It doesn't have to include a tourniquet. You don't feel comfortable with it. That's the biggest thing. What you feel comfortable with and what works for you. Um, I'll just be straight up with you. I love the look of Paul's gun, but it wouldn't work for me. It just wouldn't. I would find excuses to leave it in the truck. It's heavy, it's clunky. I feel like everybody's looking at me. You name it. My wife actually, and it's hot, so I'm not gonna open it up or anything. She carries a bodyguard. Why? Well, you've ever met my wife? She's a smaller frame, female. That's what she feels comfortable with. That's what I feel comfortable with. You see what Paul feels comfortable with. So I think it's pretty. Anybody will tell you, you got to find what works for you, and that's the biggest thing. And you got to kind of dig down inside of inside of whatever your scope of training is, whatever your morals are, and figure out kind of what you want to do. Because me personally, I have done way more stuff medically on people to aid them than I ever had any sort of self-defense. So that's one of the reasons that I throw the tourniquet in there. That's one of the reasons that, I have a pretty damn beefed up med kit in my car, and I have one usually within pretty quick access for most any time. But that's me. That's me. Somebody else is different. Some people may have zero medical training or have zero desire to help anybody. Some people ride past wrecks. I don't always do that. Sometimes I do some of it. I don't, but you know what I mean. It's highly individualized. I think what you should do first off is do a really good assessment of what your skill level is and what your strengths are. If you know that if you're a doctor or a nurse or something like that, you already have a good base set of skills in medical stuff, and maybe something that's a strong point for you. If you work outdoors and you always have tools around you, depending on your lifestyle, what type of environment you're in. Me, I'm in a residential community most of the day. It's gated. It's a retirement community kind of thing. There's not a lot of violent crime that takes place in there. And I pretty much always have a means of evasion. So, you have that. It depends on your environment and the kind of the threat level. As far as the stake, like you were talking about earlier, you know what the stake is. Nobody, there's no denying that. It's the most important thing in the world. I mean, if that was the case, we'd all carry around howitzers and, friggin' Saul all the time, like what you were joking about earlier. There's nothing more important than me. There's nothing more important than you, whoever's under your care. But, you got to figure out what works best for you. I think, and it's a personal thing, I think you always need a knife. It doesn't have to be a fixed blade. It doesn't have to be a $500 Damascus steel, like, big machete or anything like that. But you need a pocket knife for multiple reasons. It's got a million uses. It's a tool. I really think you need, you carry a little cash, something I'm really bad about, but I think you need to always have a little bit of cash because, you can get a lot out of that, even if cards are not possible. I personally need a firearm, and I'm not even going to get into that. But I will say, I think you need something you're going to carry. My wife, there's no way she would carry my shield because she loves her bodyguard, and this thing is like a full size, Smith & Wesson Model 500 to her. And, I don't know that I'd carry a big, dirty, hairy revolver either because how the heck am I going to hide it? So you got to figure out what works for you and figure out what you'll actually carry. Because if you start leaving things in your vehicle because it's too heavy, it's too clunky, I don't like it, at least in my side or whatever, then it's, you may as well not even have it. That's the biggest thing. It's so highly individualized that, you really just got to get out there and play with it some. Find somebody that has some of these things. Play with theirs. Before I got this shield, the guy I know he had one, and I literally just had him come over to the house and cook me dinner. But the stipulation was like, yo, let me carry this thing for an evening. So I like carried it around the house, like inside the waistband. Let me carry it just so I could feel what it felt like, in my waistband against my skin, bending over, picking up, turning, twisting. That way I could know what it felt like. So I'd be comfortable with it when the time comes. And the biggest thing too is training. I think everybody should, and this is without going down a rabbit hole. I think that they should teach CPR and first aid in grade school or in high school. That should be just a like human requirement. If you have 100 people trained in it, probably going to be 2/3 of them, if it's ever needed, they're not going to be able to actually focus down and use that skill because they're going to be kind of freaking out. But first aid never hurts. I have a basic, and I've used it a good bit. And I think it's one of those things where you're probably going to use that more than you ever would any sort of self-defense stuff. And I also think it's kind of nice to have for yourself, for other people, for your kids, for your wife, your friends, whatever. And when it comes to firearms training, I'll be the first one to tell you I haven't trained enough. I don't train enough. I do a fair amount of dry fire practice, but there's nothing like putting rounds on steel, rounds on paper, just actually popping some off and coming out of holster with it. That's kind of one of my 2018 resolutions is to do some legitimate firearms training, go take a class somewhere. I haven't figured out where I want to go yet. I've looked at a few. Just hadn't, no pun intended, pulled the trigger. But that's definitely on the to-do list for this year to get more comfortable with that. And last but probably the most important one is situational awareness. It's 2018. Everybody's got an iPhone glued to their face, but it's probably the worst thing you could absolutely do. You got to always have your head on a swivel, keep up with current events, know where the hot spots are, stay the heck away from them. I'm a big researcher, and anytime we go on vacation or if we're going off the weekend, I try to keep my head. I try to kind of really do some planning ahead, and it's kind of fun if there's other people involved with it. If you got in-laws or something like that you're going to be driving for. You can take some different routes than they would. And they usually will never know. I'm the type of guy too. I always like to be the one driving. I don't like riding unless it's somebody I really trust, simply because of the fact that a vehicle is a weapon, and you got a means of possibly being on the offensive, and you also have a means of living. But that's kind of, we could talk about this all night. But go ahead there, Paul.
Yeah. So I agree with pretty much everything Hunter said there. I'm going to kind of keep mine a little more gear centric. So when I think about if you're new to setting stuff up, there's certain things you got to buy. There's certain things that are skill set, and there's certain things that are equipment. Like you have to go buy a belt. You can't train to hold your pants up unless you've learned how to master the force to hold your pants up, and then you probably don't need a gun. So anyway, you're gonna need a belt, right? You're gonna need a flashlight. You can't generate light out of anywhere. You're gonna need a pocket knife to cut stuff. So with to me, kind of when I'm thinking about like you got someone who's 21, and they're like, hey, I want to start getting into this. I don't know, you call it gun lifestyle, this EDC. I call it being prepared, responsible citizen, but however you want to brand that. Anyway, they say, hey, I don't have anything. So the first thing I would say, well, we'll buy a belt. But here's what I'm going to say about all of the stuff I'm going to say to get it. Try to buy stuff that's proven, that's true. Don't get anything exotic right off the bat. Like, I mean, when you go to make your first handgun purchase, that $2,700 Kimber Pro Carry unobtainium coated one's probably not the thing you need first. Like, so just pick something kind of middle of the road that's got a good price versus quality level, and use that. So if you prefer leather belts, do that, or if you prefer like the scuba webbing belts, do that. Whichever preference you have. and just get something that kind of has a proven track record that a lot of people have experience with and say, yeah, this is pretty good. So, do that with your belt. Then when you go get a knife, same thing. You don't want the Hog Sticker 3000 as your first like EDC carry blade, right? Just like go get a decent middle of the road, like, I don't know, $60 pocket knife. Because guess what? You're gonna cut boxes open with it. You're not gonna get in a Rambo knife fight in the middle of an alley at 2 a.m. And if you did, you're probably doing the wrong kind of thing. I don't. So anyway, that's kind of that same way with like a flashlight. Pick something that's gonna work, something that's gonna something that you're gonna be able to use. There's nothing wrong with like the Streamlight Pro Tax. If you want something, it's not too expensive. I think you can get them for like $20, and then they go up in value from there. Now, when I think of those things, those are not skill set based purchases. Those are equipment based purchases. All right, so we're gonna get to the firearm part of it. So you get to the firearm, and you say, okay, I want to purchase this firearm, and so there's a lot of stuff that goes along with the firearm because you don't buy just a gun, you have to buy a holster, and do I buy spare mags, and do I buy a mag holder, and all this. Okay, let me give you a pro tip. Once you get the firearm, once again, get something that's proven. You don't need if you want to carry something shield size that you can integrate into your system a little more, go for it. If you want something a little bigger, I would say for most people, 90% of people, a good choice is going to be something between the size of like a Smith and Wesson Shield Glock 43, that size, up to like Glock 19 Sig 320 size, like basically subcompact and compact guns for most people, right? So you go get that thing. You're gonna go be excited. And you go to the gun store and you fill out all that stuff and you bring it home. Now, go at 7 yards and staple a uh, a 8-inch paper plate to that, and walk back 7 yards. Load you up a magazine. Draw from concealment, I mean, if or open if you don't have it. Maybe a low ready, and with kind of hurrying. You don't have to be trying to set the world on fire, but kind of like you moving with a purpose. Draw and put a round into that paper plate and repeat it for the whole magazine. And if you can do that 25 times, then carry. If you can't do that 25 times, don't carry the gun. Because if something happens and you need to shoot, you're just as likely to injure someone around there and hurt them as you are the person you're probably trying to shoot at. Like whether or not you get shot by a concealed weapon, a carry permit holder, or a bad guy, doesn't matter. You're still shot, right? You're laying there on the ground, bleeding. It doesn't matter. At that point, you're still shot, and you got to deal with that. Now, if you can't do it, cool. There's training. You can do dry fire. You can practice in your home. Follow all the safety rules. Make sure you use safety precautions. Go seek training, and it's pretty affordable. Like an 8-hour, fundamentals class isn't that bad, and they're probably going to get you pointed in the right direction. But until you can do that stuff, just practice and get better. Like there's a price of admission to carry a gun. And so you need to make sure that you're meeting that price of admission before you show up and start just toting that thing around. And then once you get that kind of settled, then yeah, I mean, live the dream of researching different stuff and modifying it and moving this around. Maybe I need a bigger gun, maybe I need a smaller one. Maybe I want to change this about the system or change it. But just worry about the fundamentals. Do you have a light? Because you can't do anything in the dark. Well, it doesn't matter if you have a gun. If it's pitch black outside, you're just going to shoot into the dark. A knife is a utilitarian tool. It was like one of the first tools ever made by caveman to cut stuff. So carry one of those. So you got a knife, you got a flashlight, you got something to hold your pants up. Okay, cool. And then work on that. And that, I don't know. That's kind of how I base EDC to get those fundamentals. I got something to hold my pants up? Do I have something I can see in the dark? Do I have something to cut things? And now, do I have something to put holes in bad people? The next one I would say to that is something to stop the holes that were put in good people, or people I should choose to stop the bleeding on. And same caveat with the medical gear as the firearm gear. the tourniquet that you don't know how to use is worthless. Like, what are you going to do? Like, the dude gets like a minor neck wound. You try to put the tourniquet around his neck. I mean, what's that going to do? So, that's kind of how I base my thinking on it. If you want to follow up on anything, Hunter.
No, I mean, and I think that right there just goes to show some of the difference in, I don't know, maybe philosophy would be the word. It's one of those things, right? I totally agree with you on all that. Like, and I think that's the healthy part too, is that you can look at other people's systems and know that they are the way they are because of what their lifestyle is and what their scope of activities are. Um, a light is something I have been heavily considering going into my system. And that's something I definitely want to look into. As far as the other side, you get the nail on the head. It's I can't remember who it was that said it, but it's the truest thing in the world is people will go out and buy $1,000 gun and can't hit the broadside of a barn, and they're really tactically, they're really operationally at a deficiency where what they should have done is bought a $400 gun and spent $600 on training and got to a level of proficiency where they were, first off, they were safe, but second off, they could actually be functional and they could be an asset in some sort of event.
I mean,
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of take this. I mean, think about all the small arms fire that U.S. troops have encountered in the last 18 years throughout the Middle East, Africa, and Asia has been produced by Soviet-made arms that were produced in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So there's people out there that have, I mean, and that are out there getting it done with weapons that are 40 years old. So there's a lot to be said for dedication and intent. I mean, dedication and intent is done by someone who means to do, Americans harm, but it's the Indian, not the arrow.
That's right, absolutely. I think everybody wants the next big thing, the high speed road drag, the tactical stuff. But at the end of the day, there's some people out there with revolvers that I would not screw with, and that's just something like you said, it's the Indian, not the
It's
best pop for us, or
what was that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch you on that last
one. I said you're gonna like a desk pop, like an office pop. I'm out.
No, I couldn't. I can't hear what you're saying. It sounded garbled there.
No worries.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I mean, there's people that could probably. I mean, even if I would have a crew served weapon, could probably still find a way to kill me, just because they have the mentality and the training and the fortitude and all that stuff. But you know what? I mean, I have no illusions about, and I think everybody should. Just because you carry a gun doesn't mean you think that you're Jason Bourne, right? Like, or a knife or a flashlight or anything. Like, I'm just a dude who wants to go home every night, and I don't want to be in the obituary for anything other than old age. Like, yeah, Paul Laughlin died, at 107 years old skydiving or something. But like, I don't want to be like, man mugged at, outside of Publix for $7.37. Like, I don't want to be that headline. So that's more.
And and I'll touch on this too. I want to talk about this actually. It's no secret that everything basically nowadays is politicized. And I see. So I live in central Georgia. Georgia obviously has a reputation because it's Georgia, right? I mean, Georgia. And I'm sure maybe somebody from, I don't know, Washington State or China or somebody from way off, a non-Southerner, is watching this right now. And Georgia is an open carry, no holster requirement state. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I've done it. I don't think I'll ever do it again. It's goofy. Like you're basically, you may as well take your pants off and just show what you got. Like, look at me, look at me. You're walking around with a flag, shoot me first. But I guess what I'm getting towards is this, and I'm not going to get into a whole like, oh, they're coming to take our guns or anything like that, because it's non-productive. But I guess all I'm going to say is this: if you're a firearms owner, if you carry firearms, whether it be, you know, for self-defense or whatever you're doing it for, if you're carrying a firearm in public, please, please, strongly think about where you're at and what you're doing, on multiple levels. But think about that before you open carry, because the people that see you are voters as well. Because some people are not cool with that, and it doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just, all I'm getting at is let's just try to be a little bit more truth about that. Not to mention from a standpoint of maybe freaking somebody out, but the biggest thing is just remember that when you're wearing a gun, it's kind of like wearing a club sweatshirt or something like that, or a football jersey for your team. You're representing them. You're a spokesperson for that crowd of people. And just remember that the people that are seeing you, the people that are maybe rolling their eyes at you, they too are voters. They may have at one point not had an opinion on the subject, but as soon as they saw you walking around with your, big High Point and Uncle Mike's holster you bought in the grab bag section at Walmart, and you're drinking a beer, and you're standing out front of a convenience store and it's just hanging out of your back pocket, you're not doing people like me, Paul, and probably a lot of the other people watching this, you're not doing those guys a favor. If you took someone that may have not had really an opinion on it, they haven't really thought about it, you just took them, they were on the fence, and you just kind of turned them against the firearms community because you look really careless. And not, like I said, not even talking about from an operational standpoint, but that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves.
I'm going to go ahead, and because I'm a little more polarizing than Hunter's going to be on this topic. How about you just go ahead and just don't open carry? Like, I'm going to go ahead and be blatantly. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. Just go ahead and don't open carry. If you're out in public and you're not like coming from hunting, or even if you're coming from hunting, like, go ahead and do the paperwork, whatever, and get you a concealed license. Put the thing in, and you can. No one will ever be the wiser. There's no point in you walking around with it on there. It could decidedly probably be tactically against your favor to do that should there be a situation where there was an active shooter or you had someone that was trying to do a personal property crime. So I'm going to go ahead and say just don't open carry. The state I live in doesn't allow it. I worked and lived in North Carolina for a while. They do allow it. I know Georgia allows it. And
Did you
I
get
don't.
much in North Carolina?
It was regional. So yeah, so like you go around Charlotte and you don't see it as much as you get. It's someone else who knows the intricacies more of North Carolina could tell you more about it, but it's very regional. So like in the more rural type areas, like obviously around Durham, you didn't see it there. Eastern North Carolina, kind of between. Like Fayetteville and Raleigh, out in there, you saw it a lot. Around Fayetteville, you saw it. You saw it a lot. You see it in Western North Carolina some over there, but and then you see it in Georgia, and I'm sure you can chime in more. It's regional as well. Like you're not going to see it in Atlanta, but you get on the right side, outskirts, one way or another, and you see it. So, what I am going to say there is just like don't open carry, and I'm not saying that from like about it hurting people's feelings or anything like that. I mean, the whole political correctness thing, that kind of, I don't really care about that. But what I am saying is that it offers you no advantage in the situation of people are going to treat you different. Just go ahead and accept that, like whether you like it or not. If you carry a gun around on your side and you're not a police officer, or you're not like in an occupied territory as a military member, people are going to treat you differently. They're flat out going to treat you differently. You're going to catch looks. wouldn't surprise me in the right area, even though it's completely legal, that you get a nice visit from a police officer asking you what you're doing. I mean, obviously in Walmart you probably wouldn't, but depending on what you're doing. So just, man, it ain't worth that. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. So just go ahead and get your concealed carry permit, keep the thing away, and it'll be like it'll, I don't know, it'll be like a life insurance policy. You may have one, you may not, but nobody's really asking about it, right? So I don't know. The open carry thing is kind of a pet peeve for me. So when you mention that, it kind of struck a nerve.
Yeah, just say no.
Just say no. Don't say no to drugs. Say no to open carry.
Don't, if you think about anything else tonight, don't smoke crack and don't open carry.
That's right. Stay in school, drink milk, don't do drugs, don't open carry. That's tonight's lesson.
That's it. I think it's also, I've never seen anybody that I really thought was squared away to open carry. Most of the time, the guys open carry, you could go up and take that gun, field strip it, and beat him to death with a slide. Like, it's like a really overweight old guy that's wearing like one of these shirts that's cringeworthy. Like, what does it say? Like, too fat to run, too old to fight, or something like that. It's like, get out of here, man. Just stop.
Yeah, you get some neck bearding 3%ers when you see open carry.
I think I sent you a picture right before Christmas. I was in the liquor store. We were getting stuff to make eggnog, and this dude was open carrying like a Taurus, and it was in like one of those padded like nylon like Uncle Mike's holster. But it was legit. It's like I don't even know how he had it. He had like this clipped on the pocket of his boogie. He legit could have walked by and bumped into this guy.
I actually have that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, I was like, oh my god,
No, I got that story beat. So this one, this is worth making this thing go longer to tell this story. So when we were in Greensboro, we just got into the area, and I was riding around looking for, you're looking for local places to eat, like where's the local hardware store, like that kind of stuff, So I go by this place, and there's this guy out there washing windows, and he had a cowboy hat on, and that kind of, this ain't Texas, and you just don't see that many people wearing cowboy hats, right? So I drive by, and this dude straight up has cowboy hat on. I think he had like a flannel shirt, which wasn't that big of a deal, jeans or whatever. He had a lever action mare's leg in a leather holster strapped up out there washing windows. I'm talking about like a 30-30 with like an 8-inch barrel. Well, it was probably like a 44 Magnum, but a straight mare's leg, like the rifleman. I mean, he's just like this, he's like, he took that thing straight off this, the Steve McQueen set and put it on there. And
what kind of store was it? I gotta know that. Was it at least like a I don't know, like a boot store or something?
No, I don't remember, but that's not the only time I saw him. Over the time that I was there, I probably saw him 5 or 6 times at different like places cleaning windows. That's what the guy did. He went around and cleaned storefront windows. This guy had this black 10-gallon hat on and was out there washing windows with a mare's leg, and in one way I almost got misty-eyed because I was just thinking like America, but in another way I'm like that's like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I was torn. I don't support open carry, but that's if I had to get behind it, that's the kind I would. That, or like if he just straight had a M60 like the pig with a big canvas carrying strap and like a maybe like an 80-round teaser belt laid across the shoulder. That's
right there. Did you hear it talking about that? It's totally like, it's not even on so good. The guy was on the Jocko podcast. I can't remember his name. I think it was Mike Thornton. He was like one of the most decorated SEALs like ever. He was like a UDT guy back in like Vietnam. He's talking about how they stole it like in the middle of the night. They stole the freaking, I don't know what they're called, but it's like the tube that feeds like the mini guns, or maybe it was a gun on like the ATM or what. They stole like ammo feed tubes. They would take like a military, like an Alice pack, and they would fill it up with ammo and stack it in there. And they just like took like a knife and cut a hole in the bottom of the bag and took that like feed tube and run it up into like the side of their freaking whatever they had, like a stoner. And they just, I mean, you can only imagine. We'd have like 200 pounds of ammo, and we'd just be walking through the jungle, just go, 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 go. Like you could just imagine like a scene off of Predator or something like that. It's like holy crap.
Oh, that's great. I mean, if you're gonna open carry, it needs to look a scene like Predator. It needs to be like, yeah, it needs to be. You need to have a minigun with Jesse Ventura out there just, raising hell in the jungle. So if you are gonna open carry, it needs to be legit. So I'm with you there. All right, well let's move towards wrapping this thing up. Main takeaways for everybody is that everybody's system is going to be a little bit different, and just because you don't have one of the things we had, you're not wrong. You have to base that system on what you do every day, what you're gonna do in the future, and it can change. What I carry right now is not exactly the same as what I carried a year ago or 5 years ago. And as you mature, you'll see what works, what doesn't. And it is God, I don't even want to say this. It sounds so stupid, but it's like a journey. But I'm okay. Never mind. Let's scratch that. It's not a journey. I mean, you're going to change over time, right? So stick to the fundamentals. Do your research. If you got questions about gear that you need, if you got, hopefully the one good thing about social media now is try not to copy people, but like you'll see some trends among people, like what they carry and why. But I mean, ask yourself the question of, should I be carrying this because it makes sense for me, or am I carrying it because I'm wanting to emulate this Instagram personality that I see, or this guy who's a really fast shooter, or am I just carrying it because it looks cool? Because I mean, rule number one is always look cool, but rule number two needs, your stuff needs to work. So I mean, I think that's all I got, Hunter. I don't know if you want to chime
No,
in
I
on
just want to
anything
echo
else.
that. And just to kind of remind people that, probably not we referenced it. One of the best things you can carry is not anything you put in your pockets. Something, that's in your head. Use some visualization, watch those flight videos, know the rough areas of town, use your situational awareness, get off your phone, that type of thing. That's probably the best thing you can carry is not a gun, it's not a knife, or any of that. It's gonna be a cool head and a good set of eyes, because at the end of the day, I think success is never having to use your gun, never having to use a knife, never having to turn to get any of that stuff, because you never let it get to that point. Maybe just look at also to echo the fact about the internet, Google up some stuff, man. Like, get on YouTube and search up biometric profiling. That's a wormhole right there. And you can spend a total week just sitting in front of a computer learning about behavior and what type of person does certain things and what's out of the normal. And that's going to get you a pretty good wage. Whatever you do decide to carry, make sure it's, like Paul said, for the right reasons, not because it looks cool, but because it's functional and it works for you. But also, make sure you're training whatever you got going on, and that you don't just learn it one time and set it down. If you can draw and put rounds on a playing card at 21 feet, and you can do that in 2 seconds 5 years ago, it doesn't matter. It's what's the old saying, rent or success is geez, I messed it up now. About, success is rented, not earned, and it's new every day kind of thing. You gotta continue to work on it, continue to keep those skills sharp. Otherwise, you're losing. But other than that, that's all I got.
That's it for me too. I hope everybody has a good night, a good rest of the week. If you want to put comments down, feel free to share them on Instagram. And if you got anything that you want us to talk about next week, we usually decide what we're going to talk about. Probably a little too close to the show from what we should. So if you got ideas, put them out there. But other than that, everybody have a good week. Have a good rest of the night for most of you guys on the East Coast. And then we'll catch y'all later.
All right, man. We're out of here.
Later.